Hello humans, welcome back to my world of stuff. I'm in a slightly different seating position in the cinema room today. You'll see the stand there where I normally position my camera when I'm filming. I'm going to draw the blinds in a moment, create a cinema type vibe, because I'm going to watch Prey, the new Predator movie, which debuts today on Disney Plus. Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it. It's had very good reviews. So let's see what it's like. Hello, welcome back. Right, Prey. It's now actually the next day that I'm filming this because I watched the film yesterday. I went to see another film in the afternoon. There'll be a video up on that one shortly. It was Bullet Train. Some thoughts on Prey then. I really enjoyed this. I mean, I'm not the world's biggest fan of the Predator franchise. Of course, potted history. It dates back to 1987 with the first film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And yeah, that was the story, of course, of a bunch of Marines out in the jungle fighting off this monstrous alien creature. That was followed a few years later, with Predator 2, which took the alien into the city. Since then, the franchise has had a slightly mixed history. We had Predators a few years back, which I quite liked, which cast Adrian Brody in the unlikely role of an action hero. We had the two Alien versus Predator films, Alien versus Predator and Alien versus Predator Requiem. Neither of those films are particularly well regarded, but I think they probably both had their moments. I haven't seen either of them for years. I probably should revisit them. I seem to remember that the first one was quite bloodless and almost family friendly. The second one went way over the top with the gore and some really nasty, unpleasant stuff. So they were two sort of entirely different films, part of the same franchise within a franchise. And then in 2018, we had The Predator, directed by I'm thinking Shane Ritchie, but it's not Shane Ritchie, it's Shane Black, which was terrible, frankly. Such a disappointment. Shane Black is a really good filmmaker. He directed Iron Man 3, which I got a lot of time for. And I know he's well regarded, but he just really dropped the ball really badly with this terrible film. The tone was all over the place. The characters were all very unlikable. Humour was very misplaced. It was just a bad film. And on the face of it, that should have been the end of the whole franchise. But I understand that this film was sort of pitched around the same time as a possible return to the series' roots, I think. And I really enjoyed it. It's directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who directed the brilliant 10 Cloverfield Lane 10 years back, maybe, which was possibly the best of the Cloverfield films. We'll speak not of the Cloverfield Paradox, which killed the franchise and the trilogy. But he's a really good filmmaker, and he understands how to build tension and understated thrills, especially if you've seen that film. You will know what I mean. This is very much a return to roots because it tells pretty much the same story as the first film, but in a very different setting. We're now back in North America in 1719. We're in Comanche country, where it's wild and lawless. And the story focuses on a young Comanche girl called Naru. She's played very well by Amber Midhunter, I believe her name is. Midhunter. I think it's Midthunder, I'll put the right name there. She's the female member of the tribe, and she wants to show that she's as good a warrior as the menfolk. It's that sort of very contemporary sort of theme. We get it in most of our films these days. But she's laughed down because she's a girl. Her brother, she looks up to her brother, but he's sort of quite protective of her. And she's not really, we got company, she's not really a born hunter, if you like, but she wants to show that she can be as good as the men. She's put to the test to show her mettle when something arrives from space. There's a very impressive scene of something moving through the clouds, and we see this, eventually see the creature, which is the familiar Predator. I think it's been slightly redesigned from the classic Predators of the old films. It looks slightly different, but no less terrifying, no less threatening, and no less powerful. And the interesting thing, of course, whereas in the previous Predator films, we've had humanity fighting against the creatures with all the technology that's available these days, we're back in the early 18th century, and we're talking bows and arrows and sticks versus this compelling, monstrous creature which has come to Earth to hunt. And that's pretty much the story. It is very, very much a straightforward story of combat and survival in hostile terrain. And it's thoroughly entertaining, really enjoyable. There's some great action sequences in it. This landscape looks fantastic. I mean, it's really looks good on the screen. Point of that, of course, is this is available on Disney Plus in the UK and on Hulu in the US. It isn't getting a cinema release. A lot of people have said it deserves a cinema release. I think it does, purely to get the full scale of the cinematography, the location filming, the landscape. It does look gorgeous. I think I'm fairly lucky in that I watched it on my 100-inch cinema projector screen, so I did get a sense of the scale of it. I think that probably the reason it didn't get a big cinema release is because there's no star names in this. There's no unique selling point apart from the fact that it's the latest in a franchise that's had tough times over the years. How it would have done if it'd gone cinematic, I don't know. I just don't know. But I think it will certainly find a big audience on streaming. It deserves to. As I said, it's a very simple, straightforward story. It's about this girl's battle to survive against this creature. There are other perils involved. We get the return of quicksand, which I haven't seen in a film for years. I love it when somebody falls into quicksand and has to get out. It's one of those primal sort of things I remember from my childhood. Seeing films where people got stuck in quicksand and found themselves in terrible situations. We also get some non-alien adversaries. There's one very good scene with a huge bear, which she sort of has to avoid. So it's not all about the Predator, but of course we're here to see the Predator action, and it doesn't disappoint. There's some great action sequences. It's quite surprisingly violent because there are other characters that come into the film later on who will pit themselves against the Predator, and they've got slightly more sophisticated weaponry than Naru, but they don't come to any particularly happy conclusion in their battle with this creature. It's a really good film. It's a good, straightforward, unpretentious, human versus alien story. It takes the Predator idea and just puts that really nice sort of spin on it by setting it in the past. Great acting. As I say, there's no star names here. Naru is brilliantly played. She has that sense of sort of, living on her wits out in the wilds. And when she comes against this implacable enemy, she's not fazed by it, but she wants to bring it down. And yeah, it's terrific. There's some good effect sequences. Altogether, a really good Predator film, which I highly recommend. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because I had a really good time with it. It rattles along. It doesn't outstay its welcome. It's 100 minutes. Gets the job done, and it's very tense, very exciting, very well put together. So I think it's breathed new life into the Predator franchise, and if it does well, and I see no reason why it won't, I would imagine we'll see some more, whether it'll be on the big screen or some more on streaming services. That's Prey, available now in the UK on Disney Plus. Hugely recommended. Right, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Apologies for the disruption from the animal. That's what she does. I'll see you soon. Until I do, hey, keep taking the stuff.